What's going on, everybody? It is that time. UFC 265 just wrapped up. It's Bleed. It's Al Mack. And this is Bloodshed. A post-show, we're going to go over every fight that took place at UFC 265. Phenomenal card, man. Action-packed, absolutely. And wow, so much to talk about, Al. I can't wait to get into it. Can't wait to see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Al Mack, what is up? How you doing on this Saturday post-show?
I'm not doing too bad. You know, me and you are on opposite sides on a lot of fights tonight, and I feel like we split pretty much even. And you know, we had the right side of the main event, so you know we start a new main event streak going forward. Although I had decision, well, I didn't have decision. I had him in a parlay and the over. The over took an L, but actually over 2.5 rounds didn't take an L. But we'll get to that. The favorite tonight finally turned it around and won 10 of 13 fights, turning a small profit of 2.5 units on the money line, which is, you know, a big contrast to the last 2 weeks where the underdog had won like 13 or 21 fights coming into tonight. And then, you know, our theory about the fans, you know, another UFC pay-per-view card, Fight Goes the Distance, no, cashes more times than it doesn't, with 7 of 13 fights ending by stoppage, cashing for 2.5 units. So, yeah, an interesting one. We had 7 coin flip fights, and the coin flip favorite won 4 of them for just a marginal profit of 0.3 units. And yeah, it was just an interesting card. Basically, you know, it wasn't what would you rate it? I would give it about like an 8 out of 10. I say like you know, UFC 254. That Usman Burns card, you know, I rated about the same. Like it was nice to see fans. It was decent. I wasn't, you know, I'm not a disappointed customer. What about you?
Hey, man, it was a pretty good betting night for me,
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's hard
sure
to be mad at a card, you know what I mean? So I thought it was a good card, you know, action-packed. I think we had a lot of solid reads on a lot of these fights. Not a whole lot of surprises. But we're going to get into it, man, on a fight-by-fight basis. You know, like I said, Patreon plays for me that I sent out. I had 11 bets, which is a lot, man, the most I've had, you know, official plays that I sent out to the Patreon members, right? And we went 7-4, won a lot of them. Really only one bet out there that I, you know, probably regret placing. But, yeah, we're going to get into every single one of these fights. And kicking it off, man, I started off the night hot and just loving this outcome here, guys. Johnny Muñoz Jr., 2 minutes, 35 seconds of the second round, takes out Jamey Simmons. Man, you know, Al, I talk about it. I really don't like having 2 bets on the same fight. I was that confident in Muñoz Jr. here. I had him parlayed up as the first leg, straight money line, and then I even took him inside the distance at essentially even money. Man, it just went down exactly how I thought it would. I felt like he was pretty live to hit this submission. And, man, almost kicking myself I didn't have a half unit out there on submission, because I felt like that was probably how it goes down. I think that was a pretty healthy plus money spot right there. But nonetheless, I'm not going to complain, man. 2 bets, parlay that moves on the first leg. I had 2 parlays of the week this week. What do you know? They both won, but we'll get into that. But then the inside the distance, man, I felt like big mismatch here. Muñoz Jr. looks ultra impressive. Jamey Simmons, man, I don't know. I don't think this guy's UFC caliber whatsoever, and I don't know if we'll see him again. But Muñoz Jr., man, we got to be on the lookout. This kid looked great. What did you think? Did you have anything on this one?
Yeah, I had the over in this one, and it got steamed to the point where there was a 1.5 line out there at some places, and yeah, I thought it was a contrarian play. I was going against the grain, kind of thinking that Simmons was going to be tough enough, or I mean, it's not even a question of his toughness, right? It's just a question of his, you know, his grappling was just not it was just not a match to Munhoz. And it's a story. One of the only I was coming into this card with this fight and another fight that we'll talk about. That I was hoping for some stoppages in the bantamweight division. This is one of the only ones where I was going against the grain, but luckily we had the Miles Johns fight ended in stoppage. So, but yeah, this was, basically, if you look at the line, what did he close at? He probably closed at like minus 230. Johnny Muñoz Jr. If that's the case in hindsight, there was some value on him, right? Like
I think he closed like minus 300.
Yeah, minus 300.
And I mean, that was a minus 300 performance. Let's keep it real.
That's about right. Yeah.
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 So, all right, Al, should we keep it rolling here? Let's move on to the second fight of the night. Oh, buddy, Al. Melissa Gatto takes out Victoria Leonardo. Victoria Leonardo, I think I don't know if it was a broken wrist, a broken arm, something near the wrist. Melissa Gatto, she's the real deal. Victoria Leonardo, I felt like this is a fight that I targeted from a live betting standpoint, man. And I got to tell you, I kept trying to hit Gatto, and they kept closing me out. I got burned live on this one, dude. This is one I wish I could have tweeted out, but it's just I don't know if people out there are familiar with live betting, man. They'll open the line, they'll close the line, move it. They'll open the line, they'll close the line. I just kept hitting it, and it could not make it through in time. Before you know it, the fight's over. Melissa Gatto, the better striker, the better grappler. Leonardo does a decent job early on, reversing a position. But other than that, Gatto looked absolutely great. Victoria Leonardo, I mean, the doctor comes in. I guess if she had a little more heart, I guess she was maybe a little more crazy, she could have lied, said, no, it's fine, got out there and fight. The doctor comes over like, hey, how's your arm? She's like, oh, it's broken. They're like, oh, okay. So, I guess we're done here, right? I mean, that's how it went down straight up. So that's the end of the fight. I'm impressed by Melissa Gatto. Broken arm or not, I think Gatto's in the driver's seat and going to win this fight. So, I don't know about Leonardo, man. I don't know if she's at this level. I don't know if she's got it. Gatto, however, Gatto's got it. Okay, Gotti. Yeah, Gatto's going to make some waves, I think. She looked pretty good here. Still worried about that takedown defense, but, dangerous with the jiu-jitsu off her back. So who's to say she ain't just going to go out here and keep arm barring from guard and, Kimuras and whatever. So I'm pretty high on her. I think she looks pretty good. Let's give her a step up. Al, what'd you have here?
Yeah, this was one where I was, again, usually I always say, you'll be hard pressed to find a women's flyweight fight where I don't bet the under, and everybody was on the under on this one. So I thought that there was some value on, fight goes the distance. Yes. On this one. So I kind of got burned. And the under cashes, it improves 22 and 34 since January of last year for just under 5 units profit. So it's, there's some value on these unders in this flyweight division. This was one that, if even when you're normally getting like plus 300, plus 280, which we'll talk about in a couple fights later on. But, this one ended up closing on the chalk line on the under. So I wanted no part of it. And then my contrarian side came out and I wanted to get, come in on the over. And yeah, Leonardo is just, Gatto's next level. I think I would like to see, I don't know. Yeah, the matchups. I know Casey O'Neill is booked, but that would be somebody that I want to see, or that girl that she just beat. But yeah, there's so many good flyweight prospects. And then as far as Victoria Leonardo, we can just throw her to the wolves if she still has some fights left on her contract. Just she's going to be another huge underdog in her next few fights before she ends up being cut. But I don't know. She needs to improve. And they said in the broadcast that she's had trouble with that arm too. So that's never good, right? Like if you're having your arm continuously broken fighting in MMA, that's probably not a good sign. So yeah, I don't know how much longer we're going to see her in the UFC, but Melissa Gatto, sky's the limit in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. One interesting thing, I guess the broadcast team talked about how, like according to the UFC PIs, like endurance metrics and like, Victoria Leonardo, scored in the top 3%. Well, let me tell you something. She scored in the bottom 3% on quality of fighter in the UFC. Yeah, man, I'm with you. I don't think Leonardo's got what it takes. I think she probably fades out here pretty soon. At the same time, though, fighting a good level of competition, maybe they really lower the bar and maybe she squeaks out a win. But Al, good point about the arm. Let's just wrap this up. She's not like she's ever going to be the champ. And what's the point of sticking around and getting your arm broke for 12-12, right? And it's not even 12-12. It's 12 because you got to win. So, yeah, let's keep it rolling here, Al. Here we go, baby. So I talked about in the first fight, right? I had the little parlay action. Johnny Muñoz Jr., the first leg. Wouldn't you know it? Miles Johns, he was that second leg. Cash that sucker. Miles Johns, minute and 16 seconds into round number 3, just puts a beating, a one-sided, one-way traffic beating on Anderson dos Santos, And this is a line that I felt like was pretty wide. Wasn't wide enough, okay? That was a near picture-perfect performance there out of Miles Johns. Like, maybe ate 1 or 2 hard punches, but, the calf kick eats up the leg of Anderson dos Santos. I feel like we caught something in the broadcast where Anderson dos Santos essentially, told his corner, hey, remember how I was coming into this fight with kind of a screwed up knee? Well, he just kicked me right in it. And from even that first hard leg kick, it changed the whole dynamic of the fight. Anderson dos Santos got very stationary, very upright, the chin out. I saw it coming from the first round. He avoided a couple, he ate a couple, but Miles Johns was just swinging heat and targeting that chin, man. And I felt like the time was going to come. Sure enough, about a minute into the third round, Miles Johns obliterates Anderson dos Santos. Like I said, great performance. Second leg of a parlay that I cashed. Al, what did you think of this one? What'd you have?
Yeah, this is another one. This is where I was on the right side, where everybody thought this fight was going over. The over was lined at like minus 200, and I got plus 175 on the under. And I don't know what it is. I feel like Miles Johns, I think it's miraculous that a guy that size is able to get down to 135. Like he looks like Alir Latifi if Alir Latifi was a bantamweight. Like he's just so jacked, and I think he's special. I think he's kind of underrated, and he worked that leg kick. Like usually we see people that they don't identify when their opponent's injured, right? And he was able to identify it, and it was just a matter of time. And then he dropped them, and I was kind of nervous going into that third round, but I think it was like a minute into the third round, or not even, that he caught him and knocked him out. So that under 2.5 rounds cashed. And there was 5 bantamweight fights on the card tonight, and those were the 2. Munhoz and Miles Johns at went under. The other 3 went over. So that trend, it took a minus tonight, but the unders in the bantamweight division have been money, especially with these. I say every time we do this show, especially in the unranked like fighters in these divisions that are just on the fringe of cracking in. And Miles Johns, I think, is one of those fighters. So yeah, man, I think he's pretty good. I don't, as far as who I'd like to see him fight next. It's tough. Bantamweight's tough to matchmake for, because there's so many guys. There's so many guys. I would have to look at the rankings, but yeah, he's super impressive. Yeah, what did you think about just his endurance? For that size, he was he looked good going into that third round. What did you think about that?
Yeah, man, I think he's on point. I think he's looked great. I mean, I'm pretty sure the only loss he's taken is to Mario Batista, out of MMA Lab.
And that was kind of a fluke. Like he kind of like slipped on a banana peel in that one.
Yeah, well, I just got to keep it real. Mario Batista, I think, is a really underrated guy and is really damn good. So not a lot of shame in that loss. Looking back too, I got to keep it real. Miles Johns has been just a damn money train for me, man, and I'm not getting off anytime soon. I think he's well-rounded. I think he's got great boxing. He doesn't necessarily have the longest reach, but I feel like, he strikes long. I think he hits guys when they don't think they can be hit, and he's got big-time power. So I'm a fan, man, incorporating the leg kicks, the calf kicks the way he did. Just a thing of beauty. Just a great performance from Miles Johns against an opponent that's dangerous in a lot of areas. So, definitely going to stick with Miles Johns, man, and he's going to get a step up here. Anderson Dos Santos, kind of a run-of-the-mill type guy. Miles Johns definitely starting to sniff around the top 15, I think. So, in just an absolutely deadly division. That's the problem is, man, he's probably sitting at like that 25-30 mark. You got to win like 3 or 4 fights to crack the top 15. There's so many killers in this division, right? So, let's keep it rolling here, Al. Buddy, Al, sometimes you can't turn your back on your guy, Al. I'm sorry. You did it to yourself here. Manel Kape. 4 minutes 44 seconds of round number 1, man. Flying knee, just a thing of utter beauty. Knocks out Ode Osbourne. Al, I gotta tell you, I had a bet on Manel Kape here. Got him about a minus 190. Ode Osbourne was a pretty popular underdog play this week. I just said to myself, man, I know if Manel can come out here and fight to the best of his ability, fight to the skill level we saw on his run in Risen, this guy's going to beat Ode Osbourne. I just thought he was the better man, the more deadly guy. And sure enough, man, back against the wall, 0-2 in the UFC. Al, you brought it up, man, and it's a great point. This is a dude, Manel Kape, who went from literally probably being minutes away, one decision away from debuting in the UFC for a title shot against Brandon Moreno, or at least an interim title, right? When he served as backup for Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Then this guy goes out, loses his next 2 fights. Close one to Pantoja. I can see the decision for Pantoja. I had a bet on Mateus Nicolau as an underdog in that last one, and I got to say, I think it was a gift. I think Manel Kape, albeit close, albeit, not a great performance, I think he won that fight. Man, back against the wall, 0-2. This dude cannot go 0-3 in this flyweight division. Does he miss weight? Yeah, man, and it's not a good look, and you kind of gotta ding him for it. You know what I mean? It's not a good look. But I'll tell you what is a good look that really covers up a weight miss, a highlight reel KO, which is what he got tonight. I had a bet on Manel Kape, but Al, here's where it just gets crazy sweet. This is not a joke, folks, and I've done this before, and I did it again tonight. I literally placed a live bet. This is not a joke. I hit bet. The instant Manel Kape flies through the air, lands the knee, he goes down, pop, pop, pop. The fight is called off at the instant my live bet goes through. I got a double dip on this one. The live number came down. I ended up getting Manel. Like I said, I had a pre-fight bet on him at minus 190. I saw him kind of beginning to take over. I felt like the Ode Osbourne looked good. He definitely had success early on, and I think was winning the early minutes of the fight. I saw Manel Kape find his rhythm, his timing, start to land the better shots. Just a matter of straight luck on the timing, man. I honestly was probably 5-10 seconds tops from not being able to place this bet. I did the double dip, man, and Manel Kape, star boy, comes through, finally gets that elusive first UFC win. He does it in fashion. Al, what did you think? And we know who you had. You told us on the final countdown.
Well, I did have my bigger stake was on the under.
Nice.
As I was saying,
hey, there you go. So it lessens the sting.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I was saying someone's getting finished, because the reason that I came to Ode Osbourne, like I said, was because I just thought Manel Kape's back is against the wall here, and because he missed weight, he's gonna go into those places where he's not comfortable. He's a very, and he still reverted back to his old ways. He was still fighting with his hands down, with his hands behind his back, and he was still smiling when he got punched in the face. All of the old tricks, he still had them, and he just can't help but clown. And but he got the win. I gotta say, I thought that stoppage was pretty brutal. That's a good stoppage in Ryzen, but not in the UFC.
Good point.
I thought he was out. Like, I didn't think he was out. I thought, at least let him follow up. I don't know, like a quick stoppage, not the story of the event, obviously, as we'll get to the main event. But yeah, that was not a good stoppage. And then Manel Kape, he improves to 7-5 in his last 12 fights since coming into Ryzen in 2017, and avoids going 6-6 in that stretch. And Ode Osbourne, he's gone under at every single fight he's been in since coming into Dana White's Contender Series in 2019, has ended in stoppage. I think 2 wins inside the distance and now 2 losses inside the distance. So he's been an under machine. And Manel Kape is just so jokes, man. Like, he was calling for a bonus, and Daniel Cormier had to tell him, like, you missed weight, son. You can't get a bonus.
Yeah.
Like, he's something else. He's got, I don't know. If one thing, like, this dude's training with like Khabib, he's training with AKA. He's training with Javier Mendez, and those dudes. Like, he's gonna be shaped like really well, and I don't know. He looked good tonight, coming out a little bit more aggressive, and hopefully people take him a little bit more seriously now that he's got himself a win, and hopefully this puts him right back into the discussion of getting himself ranked in the bantamweight division, because there's so many great matchups for him, because in flyweight, my bad, in flyweight, he's got to figure it out, right? He's got to figure out what he's going to do, if he's going to stay in flyweight or if he's going to move up to bantamweight, because like I just said, there's so many great matchups in bantamweight. And, if he's coming 3 pounds over, what's the realistic, I don't know what's the future for him at flyweight. It's best for him to just go back to bantamweight, right?
Man, I got to be honest. The dude was not exactly shredded on the scales.
Oh, no.
I think he probably could have made a flyweight, and I have my questions. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe he couldn't train. Maybe this was, just a standard weight miss, a miscalculation, a diet error. I don't know, but like I said, I don't know if this guy really killed himself to attempt to make it. It wasn't a close miss.
Yeah, he's a stout kid. He's very
definitely.
stout. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he needs to stay flyweight. I think he's got a rare, power and just a general athleticism, explosiveness that's rare for the division. He was at a length disadvantage to Ode Osbourne, who, came down from 135. So, he's definitely not the biggest, but he's a pretty thick dude. What do you think, Al? Should we roll on here? I think Manel Kape he's going to get definitely a step up here. And Ode Osbourne, I don't know. I think he kind of is what he is, but just an under machine. Oh, man, this is a fight that I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Just Jessica Penne, submission, armbar, 4 minutes, 32 seconds of round number 1 over Karolina, the bum Kowalkiewicz. I mean, dude, this right here, this was a tweet I sent out, very popular, retweeted aplenty, liked by many. I said, I don't know who's the bigger bum, Karolina Kowalkiewicz for engaging, for diving into the guard of Jessica Penne, or me for betting on her. I mean, come on, dude. 4-fight losing streak, out of the game for 2 years, and you're going to come back into the UFC. You're going to walk down that pathway. You're going to come out of the back. They're going to hit your music. You're going to bring your friends from Poland. They're all going to gather together, and we're going to walk down to the cage. They're going to lock that cage door behind you, and you're going to lay down into the guard of Jessica. Only shot she's got to win the damn fight is if it's on the ground, Penne, and you just give her the damn fight. You know what? Karolina Kowalkiewicz, when she did that, that would be the exact same as if she walked down, turned around, smacked every one of her corner in the face and said, you know what? I take the L. I'm losing tonight. Let's just head on back, get on a plane, and head back to Poland, where I go back to being retired. That was pathetic. And I can't believe that I thought I should bet on her. But let me say this. This was a simple fight. If Karolina Kowalkiewicz keeps this fight on the feet, even as big of a bum as she is on a 5-fight losing streak now, I think she wins this fight clearly. Instead, fights her opponent's game plan. Takes it to where her opponent can win. And when you do that, you deserve to lose. Al, this is one of your times to shine, I think.
Yeah, like I said in the pre-show, with this fight and I learned my lesson last week with Cheyenne Bays, and with this fight and the Angela Hill fight, we were talking 2 unders that were well north of plus 300, and I talk about this all the time. It's like betting baseball when you gotta. One team is a plus 300 underdog in a 3-game series. You just got to win one, and that's what happened tonight because the under in this fight cashed at plus 310, and fight goes the distance. No, cashed at plus 310. The under 2.5 rounds cashed at plus 375. So that definitely was it saved me because I could have went 0-2 because the Angela Hill fight obviously went the distance. But yeah, another under in the women's strawweight division. So it's now gone 19-27 since January of 2020 for now 11 units profit. So this is like I said, like a 40% prop. In reality, a 40% proposition, and they're giving you plus 300 on it. Like, especially, and I say I'm like a broken record, but I say it time and time again, especially with these lower ranked, non-ranked fighters that are trying to break into the rankings. It's we see it a lot. And another strawweight fight ends by stoppage. So one of the highlights for my night. And then it just came down to, with me, it just came down to a close fight. I thought Penne had a better chance on the ground than Kowalkiewicz did on the feet. And it's as simple as that, basically. It wasn't a great scrap, but basically for me, I just wanted to come in on plus money and roll the dice. So it ended up going my way on both sides on this one.
Yeah, man, I got to be honest. I mean, I just did not see that coming, but wow, you really nailed that one, So Jessica Penne, man, 38 years old, still don't think she's very good. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, we don't need to worry about what's next for her because it has nothing to do with fighting. I can tell you that. And if she does fight again, I'm looking to fade her. And Jessica Penne, I'm still looking to fade her. So that's how I feel about that fight. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, again, imagine putting out such a bum performance that you're making other people feel what you feel just by betting on you. Unbelievable. All right, let's move on. I probably shouldn't be that mad, but man, I just can't believe that performance. Unbelievable. All right. Okay. Hey, this was surprising. I had no action on this fight, but Obviously, kind of wish I did. But, in a lot of ways, I just didn't have I don't know if anybody saw this one going this way. Probably a couple people did. And if you did, man, you probably cashed good. Alonzo Menifield, unanimous decision win over Ed Herman. Yeah, Al. Alonzo Menifield. This guy is a guy that's been pegged as a first round or bust guy. Apparently, that's not the case anymore. I mean, this guy went out there. Was it the most impressive thing I've ever seen? Not really, but at the same time, for Alonzo Menifield to go out there, fight a smart, consistent 3-round fight, did even have a spot where he kind of unloaded, but, backed off without totally unloading the gas tank and carries on, right? Showed great leg kicks, absolutely just thrashed the leg of Ed Herman. And while I'm thinking of it, dude, I just got to bring this up. John Anik has to let everyone know. Joe Rogan's texted in, everybody, and he wants everyone to know the calf kick has changed the game. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Those of us that watch UFC, we could have told you that early 2018, but hey, man, Joe Rogan's on board now. The calf kick, folks, it really works. Alonzo Menifield, listen, I think a lot of people were probably mad. If you had Alonzo, you probably had him KO. You maybe even had him round 1. If you had Ed Herman, you almost assuredly were saying to yourself, Alonzo's going to slow down. He's going to gas. Ed Herman's going to turn up in the second, going to turn up in the third, and probably finish Alonzo Menifield, because I think everybody in the world was on this under. I wasn't. I said I had a sneaky feeling about this one. No action. Probably glad I didn't. But Alonzo Menifield, man, I'm going to say I'm impressed. Okay, to show he's not one-dimensional. He can go out here now, fight 15 good, decent minutes. And I don't know, man. Ed Herman, that was kind of an idiot's game plan. I mean, he literally just spent the entire fight following Alonzo Menifield, not cutting him off, not getting out in front of him, just following around the cage, eating leg kicks, eating big jabs. Alonzo Menifield, man, he gets it done here. Al, what did you have here?
Yeah, I was on Ed Herman, and I was also on Fight Goes the Distance No in a parlay, and just took double L's here. And this was such a frustrating fight to watch. And first of all, doesn't Ed Herman look like Stipe Miocic's like drunk, sunburnt sibling?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
I'm on board.
The takeaway that I got from this fight of my just utter frustration of pacing around while watching it, Menifield doesn't really know how to punch. Did you pick that up? He was like slap punching. Like, I thought if he knew how to punch when he had him against the fence and he wasn't just slap punching him, that he probably would have gotten a stoppage. But I don't know. This was not an entertaining fight. It probably, my bet ruined it, because of that. And this is one of those fights where they're like, the matchmakers are like, this is going to be action. And it's just, the polar opposite ends up happening. And I think this has happened with Menifield before. I think this is the second time that he's gone the distance. So this ends up happening to him. And this is one of those freaking fights that usually I'm all over, when I say, if you can get plus money on an over in this type of fight with two big, hard-hitting guys. So in hindsight, I kick myself because this is one of those spots that I would normally be all over. But I thought for sure with just Herman being a tomato can and Menifield being a gassy fighter who has one good round in him, he looked good throughout the whole fight. I feel like his striking needs to get a lot better, though. And this was just, I would say, the poop fest of the night for me. I was not this ruined my night pretty much.
Yeah. I got to say this. Did we get a Dominic Cruz kiss of death at the start of this fight?
No, the kiss of death was in the later on.
The co-main?
No, the song Casey Kenney fight.
Oh, yeah. God dang it.
Which is such a bad call.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to get there eventually, aren't we? All right. Here we go. Oh, man. This one was tragic for me. I mean, in some ways, not really. I mean, this fight was lying dead even going into this one. Vince Morales, unanimous decision win over Drako Rodriguez, man. You know, for me, I scored this fight 29-28 Morales. I felt like Morales won round 1. I felt like he won round 3. But I do think that Rodriguez won the second round. I do, don't get me wrong, close round overall. But, man, I felt like Rodriguez really had himself in the driver's seat, was having success, a little bit too much on his heels, backing up a little too much, continuously let Morales come forward, but was landing the better shots, landed some damage to the legs of Morales, absolutely was catching him with some good stiff jabs, touching him up. Had him bleeding from the bridge of the nose. And, even at the end of the fight, you looked at Rodriguez, he really wasn't worse for the wear. Morales is the one that was kind of wearing it. But what's so disappointing for me having a bet on Rodriguez was third round wins the fight. You know what I mean? And I felt like this was a spot where Drako had started to build a little momentum, and the guy just takes his foot off the gas in the third round. The way he fought almost seemed like he thought he was up 2 rounds going into the third, as opposed to the fight being on the line. Man, I don't know, Al. Disappointing from Dracolini here. I don't know. I'd really like to hear his thoughts on why that third round he just allowed himself to back up and get outpointed. But I have the same question for Casey Kenney here very shortly. So, Al, what did you think of this one? Did you have action on this fight?
Yeah, I was on Morales and the under. And we cashed on. I cashed on Morales, but I gotta say, one of these judges is a complete moron because he gave one of those. He gave all 3 rounds to Vince Morales. Kerry Hatley, who, first of all, I've never heard of, and second of all, how do you give the second round to Vince Morales? Doesn't make any sense. No sense at all. What are you?
That's a referee. Kerry Hatley is a former ref. I guess he must have retired and is now a judge.
No, well, that's what they do in Houston. There was a judge that was a referee earlier on. We'll get to it, but there was a judge in like the women's fight that was a referee in the prelims. So Houston is just a circus, a complete circus. But anyways, this Kerry Hatley guy the Venom entire must get him confused, because for him to have seen 30-27 is just preposterous to me. So I was when they said 30-27, I was shocked. I thought, yeah, I was happy to get the decision with Morales, but again, that's the type of thing where it speaks volumes when it's like, I'm a bettor. I have a ticket on Morales, but I'm still saying that's a terrible scorecard, because to give all 3 rounds to Morales is just a complete and utter joke. So, yeah, at least we didn't have to go to the scorecards that many times on this card, because these clowns would have messed it up pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think all in all, full night scope, like, I don't think there really was all that much controversy. We had some close fights, but personally, the way I scored these fights, I think the judges got it right. Whether or not they got every round right, definitely not. But I do think that when it came down to the decisions tonight, the right man got his hand raised every time. Yeah, so 100%. I guess we probably should just take our hats off to the judges for, at least being competent. I'll give them competent, because like I said, I don't think anyone walked away a loser or a winner that shouldn't have. So, but like you said, Al, not a lot of fights made it to decision. So we are up to a decision, and man, again, another one where something's going on, but I think the right man won. Rafael Fiziev comes in here. Great fight. This is one that I kind of had pegged from the jump. Al, I got to tell you, I killed the double dips tonight. Okay. I had Fiziev first leg of a second parlay on the night. And, I had him by decision. I said, guys, I think Fiziev wins. I really do. I think he's the better man. But this fight's going to play out far closer than the implied probability by a big margin. And it probably goes to a decision, because Bobby Green always goes to a decision. He's good at eating shots. He never really, gets caught with anything super clean. Good with rolling with the punches. Bam, bingo, exactly. I scored this fight 29-28. Rafael Fiziev pretty clearly wins round 1. Round 2, Bobby Green's definitely having some success. I still give it to Rafael Fiziev. And then Bobby Green pretty clearly wins round 3 and, did it convincingly. I think we had a judge score 30-27 here. Am I correct, Al?
Yes, a man by the name of JJ Ferraro, who, and let's just for some context, okay? His peers here are Sal Diamanto, who is a documented, absolute idiot, and then his protege or close affiliate, Chris Lee, who is also, has the IQ of a TV dinner. So this guy, JJ Ferraro, who I've never heard of, I look at MMA decisions every single time, every single night that we do these shows. I look, never heard of this clown. Somehow he has it 10-9 all the way across for Fiziev, which makes that's again 100% preposterous. And thank God that we had Sal D'Amato and Chris Lee, because and this would have been brutal. And thankfully, one of the things I always say is, I thought for sure this fight was going the distance, and I thought for sure that Fiziev was going to win, but I wanted to split it up. So I had Fiziev in a parlay with Miles Johns, and I just bet the over 2.5 rounds straight. And I was very, very confident, but I just felt like, Green leaving his hands down was going to end up costing him. But what an unreal fight this was. Bobby Green is just so entertaining. And I thought Fiziev was starting to gas pretty heavily in the 3rd round, starting to slow down. He started backing up, started retreating a little bit, and Green was picking up the volume late. And I wasn't going to be shocked if they gave it to Bobby Green. But, win or lose, I think they got a $50K bonus. But yeah, man, just to reiterate, he outstruck Fiziev 2-1 in that 3rd round. He had twice as many strikes as him.
Ridiculous. So, it's probably the most clear-cut round of the fight.
Yeah, so that's just ridiculous. But I gotta say, one of the best performances I've seen of Bobby Green. Like he looked like if that fight went a little bit longer, he would have won. You know what I mean?
And if it was a 5-round fight, Fiziev had big time problems.
And if you look on Bobby Green's Instagram, because he basically put it, you've said this before too, where as the sport, as the game, as the matchup, Fiziev won, but as the fight, Bobby Green won. You know what I mean? Bobby Green kind of sunned Rafael Fiziev, but still lost the competition. And this is one of those fights where if we were on Pride rules or the old Ryzen rules, that I think Bobby Green might have edged this one out. But yeah, this was a sick fight, super fun, and just like you said, exactly the way that I thought it was going to go down. I was just kind of weary about Bobby Green leaving his hands down, but man, I got to say his head movement and the way that he uses that Philly shell, he's one of the only guys that uses that, just the way he stands like square to his opponent. And he's just, he's a thing of beauty, man. And he's still got it. Like, I want to see like matchups for him. I want to see him in there with another like elite striker, like Brad Riddell or something like that. Like, I think I think Bobby Green's stock has gone super high. And then with Fiziev, he improves to now, I think 4-1 in the UFC, with three of his 4 wins by decision. And he's turned a profit now of plus $700 on the decision prop, $100 better has turned a profit of $700 backing him by decision across his UFC career, and cashed at 150 by decision. So this is a guy who, despite being like, a high level striker, he's starting to get a feel for going the distance. And this is a great fight. This is the type of fight you watch on a leisurely Sunday, because this was a thing of beauty from start to finish.
Yeah, absolute entertainment. I'm super happy. I cashed the Fiziev leg in a parlay that we're going to talk about later. I ended up cashing, so he comes up big for me. And then by decision, man, I felt like that was honestly, if there was one prop on this card, well, that Muñoz Jr. ITD I also loved quite a bit. But plus money, man, I got it at plus 120. Felt like that was absolutely a gift. Ended up hitting it. And I want to say one thing here. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When you go into a fight and you win a fight, if you want to climb the ladder, if you want to move up in rankings, if you want to raise your stock, if you want to make an impact on social media, if you want to start building your star, you need to have a name on the tip of your tongue to say, to shout out, to call out when you win a fight. And my man, Rafael Fiziev, went above and beyond. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Wi-Fi in Russia, the Wi-Fi in Kyrgyzstan, every one of those Middle Eastern, Eastern Europe, Western Russia countries, it's popping off right now, because who does he call out? None other than viral legend Hasbulla. Love the call out, man. I would love nothing more than to see Fiziev go in there. I mean, let's call it like a 360 spinning punt and just launch that Cabbage Patch Kid come to life Russia edition that is Hasbulla out and over the top of the octagon. If you ask me, I think there should be a rule in the UFC. If you can get your opponent up out of the cage, something we saw Tank Abbott attempt way back in the day, I think you win. That man left the cage. He loses. Let's do that. Let's get Hasbulla in there. If not, can somebody CGI that? I need to see that. Probably goes down. Hopefully I can inspire that. But, yeah, man, Rafael Fiziev, he is what he is, man. Great fighter, action-packed, like you said, ultra entertaining. He's right in the mix, man. This is a top 15 guy now. And like you said, this is the type of fight. Bobby Green, his stock did not go down whatsoever. If anything, may have even gone up. It was just an absolutely great scrap. So let's keep it rolling here. That was the last prelim, your prelim headliner, if you will. And my God, did it deliver. Here we go. Al, man, we were talking about how we were going to get some splits tonight. Probably not quite as many as I thought, but, man, we nailed this one. And, again, another one that, I do. I think the judges got it right, albeit maybe not the most accurate with the scorecards. But Yadong Song wins this fight. I had a bet on Kenney. I felt pretty good about it. I felt like he was the more well-rounded guy. And I almost feel like he showed he was. The problem was when he started using the judo skills, when he started using the ground game advantage he had, there was 10 seconds left in the third round, and my man had already lost 2 rounds. I scored this fight 29-28 Song Yadong. He wins the first. He wins the third. Man, Kenney burned me bad here, because not only did I double dip, I hit a live bet on Kenney about 3 minutes into round 2. I felt like Kenney was coming on. He was finding his distance. Song Yadong was slowing down. And I felt like we saw the momentum shift. And I felt like Kenney was kind of in the driver's seat. How he, between the second and third round, I mean, the dude's bouncing on his toes. Song Yadong kind of pacing flat-footed. Song Yadong just goes out there and somehow has the better gas tank. I don't know if Kenney ate some body shots that really winded him or what, but this is just a read that I got wrong. I thought Kenney was going to take over, win the third round, have more output. Was coming forward in the second round, allows himself to be backed up in the third. Song Yadong, I think, wins this fight. What'd you have, Al?
I had Kenney too. And, luckily, I had in a separate leg of a parlay, I had the over in this, which I said I thought there was a ton of value. And what do you know? The kiss of death from Dominic Cruz, somehow saying that he thought that there was going to be a knockout which, would be honestly uncharacteristic of both those guys who have gone to decision. And, I know Casey Kenney has now gone to decision in 6 of 7, and Song Yadong has gone to decision in, I think, 4 of 8. So I don't know what he was talking about, but yeah, man, I thought Casey Kenney did similar to what he did in the Dominic Cruz fight. Like I feel like the matchmakers knew this too, because Song Yadong has a problem with he never goes first. He's always answering back, and it felt like he did a really good job of going first in this fight. He always seemed to be the guy leading the fight in a lot of ways. But then as the fight went on, it seemed like Kenney started to realize that, and he started to go first. But then about halfway through the third round, or maybe even closer to like a quarter of the way through the third round, he just dropped off, and Yadong just started, putting it together, putting those combinations together, and Casey Kenney was just watching. And I feel like the thing is like Casey Kenney is kind of his own worst enemy, where like he doesn't need to be in those stand-up exchanges. I feel like, and like you said, like you alluded to, he showed it at the very end when he got him to the ground. Can
I get some of that round 1? Can I get some of that round 2? Can I get some of that round 3? Dude, like, come on here.
Yeah, and when he just overpowered him, and I feel like in a lot of those grappling exchanges, he overpowered him, and I don't know, he just wants to stand and bang, and I don't know, he just it was brutal. But yeah, we called we bang on called this one a split decision, and this had split decision written all over it, man. And yeah, Casey Kenney has now gone the distance in 7 of his 8 fights, and the fight goes the distance the fight goes the distance yes prop cashed at -165, and in his career now it's turned a profit of 4.6 units on the fight goes the distance prop. So he's a legitimate decision machine. So he's turning even at those high it was a steep price, but it was worth it, because this was a foregone conclusion that it was going the distance, unless you were Dominic Cruz. For some wacky reason, you thought that one of these guys was going to have the highlight reel knockout. And Song Yadong, another split decision win. Although I was shocked to see that his win against Kyler Phillips was not a split decision. That was a unanimous decision, and I feel like that was a split decision, definitely on MMA decisions. But he improves to 6-1-1 in his UFC career, and I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he needs another good test, because Casey Kenney just wasn't. I don't think he wasn't what the matchmakers thought he was, and yeah, I would like to see Song Yadong maybe go against the guy that Casey Kenney just beat before Dominic Cruz. Damn, he's
Nathaniel Wood.
Yes, Nathaniel Wood. I think he needs to be in a fight where he's another big favorite, just to get him back to getting some stoppages, because he needs to get out of this thing where he's always answering back, and when he gets into that top level, he's just forced to go to these decisions. And albeit 23 years old, like all the power to him. He's a beast for what he's doing at his age and coming to America, by himself, and basically like living with Uriah Faber and those dudes. So all the power to him. But I feel like he's still, if he's on this trajectory that he's on, and he ends up getting fed like a guy like Frankie Edgar or something, he's going to get torched. So I still they need to treat him a little bit with kid gloves, because this was a good fight though. But Casey Kenney, disappointing performance in all honesty.
Yeah. Well, the thing that blows my mind is Casey Kenney acts like he won a clear-cut 30-27 and was shocked that he lost the fight. I mean, yeah, man, like I said, I had money on Casey Kenney, and I had pretty easily scored this 29-28. Song Yadong. I don't know what he was thinking, but maybe a good argument for open scoring. Maybe we see Kenney shooting some takedowns, knowing that the fight's on the line. I mean, honestly, on one judge's scorecard, the fight was over for Kenney, right? I mean, 30-27 Song Yadong. So imagine the dude going for it, going into the third round, knowing on one judge's scorecard, he's already lost. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. But yeah, I felt like him and Drako Rodriguez, the exact same problem. The impression, maybe their coaches are misleading them. Maybe they're being told between rounds, we think you got it. We think you won the round. Sometimes we see some bad corner work, man, where they kind of instill the wrong narrative. And I think we definitely saw a little bit of that tonight. And nonetheless, man, I was on the wrong side of both. So not a good look, man. I don't know if you want to lump that under fight IQ. I mean, I don't know what to think of it, man. But yeah, Kenney now, like the dude still has all the skills. He looks good. I just question, why did that slowdown in the third round happen? I'd love to hear what he had to say about it. But let's keep it rolling here. We had up next, oh, buddy, this was a damn good one for me, Al. Tecia Torres, unanimous decision win over Angela Hill. Al, this is one Patreon play. I said Tecia Torres, but as we came into the card tonight on the final countdown, Tecia Torres was up to, like a minus 150, minus 160, right? At that point, Tecia Torres, if she's winning a fight 9 out of 10 times, I mean, maybe stronger, she's winning by decision. She's very good, very talented, just not a lot of finishes historically, and just, I don't know what it is, just happy to kind of go out there and point fight. And she's got a great style to do it. But another double dipper, man. I said, give me some of that even money Tecia Torres by decision. I even got it plus money on one of my books. I just couldn't help myself. Plain and simple, man. Tecia Torres is just better than Angela Hill. Faster, more impactful strikes. I mean, even in the first round, it was apparent Angela Hill just didn't have the speed, didn't have the ability to deal with the strength, the finesse, the footwork, the technique. Like I said, Tecia Torres is just a better fighter here. A great spot for me, man. I was very confident in her. She gets the win. I cash a couple bets. What'd you think, Al?
Yeah, I kicked myself on this one because I thought simple as close fight, and I was on the plus money side. And then I had that under, but honestly, by that point, it didn't really matter because I already cashed with Kowalkiewicz and Penne. But yeah, these ladies were throwing hands, and I feel like Torres landed good, clean on Angela Hill early in the fight. And then from that moment on, Hill was just like not willing to step into her range and was always standing and kind of shadow boxing outside of Torres's range. And then from that moment on, Torres was just dictating and overpowering the fight in every aspect of it. And yeah, like you just said, she 9 out of 10 times, yeah, she does. She goes the distance. Actually, 8 of her last 10, she's gone the distance, and she's been profitable on that. The fight goes the distance in this one, cashed at like minus 400, which I wanted no part of. But, people were putting that in parlays and stuff because that's why it must have got steamed. But she's turned a profit with 8 of her last 10 fights going the distance, and, a bunch of decision losses in there too. And she's now 6-4 in her last 10 with 4 of her last 6 wins coming by decision. So, she does have that stoppage win, I think, in her last fight, which was she just ran over that girl. I think she was like a minus 700 favorite in that fight. And that was kind of basically a tune-up for her because she was coming off 4 straight losses, and the UFC basically likes her and wants to get her going again. But yeah, I don't know. This was a good scrap though. And by this point, I was just rooting for Angela Hill. But once Torres landed on her early in this fight, you could just tell Hill is smart enough in her range management that she knew if she keeps stepping in that she's end up going to get knocked out or just getting 29 or a 10-8 round if Torres connects on her. So she just stayed outside her range and shadow boxed and tried to get in on the clinch, and it was just frustrating because Torres, at one point, she just like grabbed her and threw her like that. Like the fight was over by that point. So if Torres can turn it around, the strawweight division, she looks. It's remarkable that girl is able to make 115 pounds because she is jacked.
Yeah, I mean, she's not necessarily from a stature point very big, like definitely if the UFC added an atom weight division, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her jump in. I'm going to put it like this, though. Let's hope that don't happen. But, I think she's deceptively strong. And the thing is, even though she's undersized, it's like she adds she's got the speed of what you would think from even a weight class down. She's just so damn fast, lightning quick. I think hits deceptively hard. I mean, you look at Angela Hill, even after round 1 in a strawweight matchup, she had facial damage. She ate some really hard shots. All in all, man, this was a pretty kind of a master class, really, and we're going to talk about master classes here shortly in the co-main event. But man, highly impressed in Tecia Torres. Shout out to my man, Dan Goldstein in the comments. You're dead on, dude. That was a -300 performance, probably beyond at that point. If you were on Tecia Torres, you got a steal of a deal. And guys, not a lot of people do that to Angela Hill. She's a very good fighter, has been at her absolute best. And Tecia Torres made her look below average tonight. So Tecia Torres, man, still absolutely one of the elite at women's 115 pounds. And don't be surprised if she comes back here and is competing at the top. I'll just put it like that, man. She looks great as of late. So there we go. We are up to, oh man, Al, when we were split on, you got the best of me. Just folks, I gotta tell you, and let me know in the chat. I want to hear. Let me know if you guys have this similar situation. Sometimes there's just guys out there in this game betting MMA that you bet long enough, you notice the trend, and you just can't get on the right side. Michael Chiesa is the bane of my MMA gambling existence, okay? It don't matter if I pick the guy to win, pick him to lose. If I put money on Michael Chiesa, this fool's getting choked, okay? He's getting taken out. If I bet against Michael Chiesa, this dude's taking down whoever I got my money on like crazy, strangling him, tapping him out, or just riding him around. Vicente Luque, 3 minutes, 25 seconds into round number 1, does what he does from his submission standpoint and hits a beautiful Darce choke on Michael Chiesa, okay? Now, Chiesa's doing decent on the feet. Lands a good one, too, circling out. Luque hits him with a good shot or two, but eventually we see Chiesa hits that takedown. It's a thing of beauty. He's right on top of Vicente Luque. But what does Vicente do? Man, he gets that arm under, locks in the Darce. This is my man's 4th or 5th Darce choke, and I got to tell you what, for those people out there who hit that submission prop, which in retrospect was a gift considering the downfalls, how Michael Chiesa loses a fight, and the sneaky submission ability of jiu-jitsu black belt Vicente Luque, man, I wish that's one I would have had a little something on, but I had a bet on Michael Chiesa, and I'll be honest, man, he went out there and was doing what he needed to do. Gets caught up in one of the nastiest Darces around of Vicente Luque, and Vicente Luque wins this fight, and probably right now is in a position to challenge the winner of the rematch between champion Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Vicente Luque, another win, another finish. This dude's right there knocking on the door. Al, take it away, my man.
Yeah, like how you said, similar to what you said about Chiesa being, the zig when you should have zagged type guy. Like I'm with me, I just got to continue riding my Vicente Luque, man, because this guy's just incredible. Vicente makes me money Luque because this guy has just been, it doesn't matter if he's plus 280, if he's a minus 105 underdog, which, I said in the pre-show that he's never closed as a plus money underdog. He was at plus money for a very brief moment in this in the lead up to this fight, but he closed at minus 105. So he still has not closed at plus money. And that Darce choke, just what a thing of beauty. He cashed at plus 260 to win inside the distance, and plus 1,000 to win by submission. And I got to say, somebody said it in my Q&A on Wednesday and was saying, should I take Luque plus 380 by TKO? And I said no, because, we all think, everybody thinks like, he knocked out Tyron Woodley. But no, he didn't. He threw on that Darce choke and made him tap. He might have dropped him, but he threw on that Darce choke. And, yeah, man, Vicente Luque, 13 of 14 wins. He's 13-4 in the UFC, 12 of 13 wins inside the distance. He's turned a profit of $1,250 for a $100 better on the inside the distance prop in his UFC career. This guy is just incredible. This the way that he defended off that choke, that's high level stuff, man. Like, that's cream of the crop. And that was, what a fight. Like, that was poetic. Like, that was just that was unbelievable from start to finish. And another thing, I had fight goes the distance no, and I had a pretty large bet on that at like minus 104, and that cashed in this one. And I thought there was a ton of value, because look how quick it went to into the grappling exchanges, leading going back to back with submission exchanges. And just the way that Luque threw on that Darce choke, and he's got like a little, he tosses it, like almost like he does like a DDT to his opponent, where he tosses him over like a flipping. I guess that's what makes it an anaconda. It's a Darce and then plus that toss. And man, he's got that down like just a thing of beauty. And he's who's gonna beat him, man? Especially now, like, I know that Usman is obviously going to be a giant favorite against him, but the way that he showed to defend not just defend the takedown, but the way that he showed to defend that triangle, and to defend that the leg triangle that Chiesa had on him, and just to defend a rear naked choke like that twice too, like, Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, like those dudes, like, I don't know if Kamaru has shown in his hands that he has stopping power. I don't know if Colby does.
You are sneak dissing Colby Covington like heavy right now.
No,
you're just glossing over this Colby Covington matchup. You're just like, Covington.
No,
we're definitely getting Luque. Luque Usman.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I was just saying, Colby Covington doesn't have stopping power in his hands. He's a good boxer, but he's not going to one-punch KO like Kamaru Usman did. So I'm just saying that Luque, if he's smart, because he's shown he's almost like from him down, besides Colby and Usman, which is contested, or Leon Edwards, but from him down, who's going to beat him? So Vicente Luque, he's got to wait for this rematch. If I'm him, you start looking to money fights, right? You look at the Masvidal, you look at the Nate Diaz, you know what I mean? You're looking at those type of fights where, guys want your spot in the rankings, because he's going to obviously have to wait probably until like March at the earliest, to get the winner of that fight. Hopefully, if that fight 100% happens when it's scheduled to. So if I'm him, I'm turning things around, and I'm taking on either Masvidal or Nate Diaz and getting a money fight in there, because he's not going to fight. He's not going to fight Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is in his corner tonight, and obviously Leon Edwards makes the most sense, I guess. But for Luque, I wouldn't take that fight at this point. I would say Leon needs one more fight before he fights Luque, basically as a title eliminator. But as far as I'm concerned right now, Luque fights the winner 100% of Usman. and Covington, and Leon's got to get another fight, and Vicente Luque is going to have to wait. So, yeah.
Damn. Leon Edwards loses 1 minute of 25 minutes, and he's just an afterthought on a 9-fight win streak. I tell you what. But, yeah, man, welterweight, kind of a logjam, and you're right. You know, the Gilbert Burns factor. I mean, here's the thing we got to remember. You know who else were training partners? Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. They threw down, you know what I mean? And, gosh, they are kind of right there in the same spot. So, yeah, there's a lot of matchups, though, Al. Vicente Luque, you might be right, man. This might be he might see back and say, you know what? I'm going to sit back. Let's see what happens between Colby and Kamaru, see how I fit in, and go from there. I wouldn't be surprised, man. We've seen guys get title shots on much less than what he's accomplished. So, especially with Wonderboy taking that loss to Gilbert Burns, right? Another guy that's kind of out of the way. And we already saw that matchup, man. That's his last loss as Wonderboy. So, yeah, kind of an interesting spot here. Man, a real traffic jam at welterweight now that we talk about it.
If he would want to, I would say take go fight Wonderboy again, and I think he would destroy Wonderboy. So
damn.
You know, oh yeah, come on, man, absolutely. You know where Luque is at now compared to where he was then, and where I don't know if Wonderboy has gone any. I don't know if he's improved or if he's probably the same fighter that he was then. So I feel like Luque's improved a lot, and if they fought again. Oh, man, I'd be all over Luque in that one.
Yeah, dang it. Al, like –
that's a good fight.
Here's where this fight stings so bad for me. You talk about how you've been just killing it on Luque. So have I, my dude. I mean, up until tonight, I just can't believe I turned my back on Luque, especially considering the bad blood between me and Michael Chiesa, just on a personal level. I've let him know he's let me down many times. And, I go out here and try to back this guy tonight. I mean, I don't lose. Here's the thing, Al. We had a situation here. I don't lose Luque fights. I bet against him when Wonderboy fought him, and then I've been riding Luque all the way ever since. And so I had Money Train Luque coming at can never get it right, always losing bets. Literally every time I back, like I said, every time I back Chiesa, he loses. Every time I bet against him, he wins. Luque, it's the opposite. Every time I bet on Luque, he wins. Every time I bet against him, he loses. It's great. What? How did I end up here? How did I end up on Michael Chiesa when I just look at it from that angle? I don't know, man. Chiesa, you done did it again, and you burned me bad. Man, so many people on Chiesa this week. That's when I should have known that something wasn't right. Just too many people on Chiesa. It's like the gambler's curse or something. I don't know. Good work, Al. Luque rolls on. All right, here we go. We're up to the co-main event of the evening. And boys, this is one I felt like I saw it pretty good. I will say this fight kind of went inverted from how I saw it going. I thought this fight played out more Jose Aldo, pretty clearly winning early and then potentially fading late, and we see a momentum shift as this fight progressed to Munhoz, right? Not the case. Munhoz keeping it pretty close, looking decent round one. Round two, Jose starts finding the timing, starts finding the distance, just starts kind of taking charge and running away with this one. And by round three, we're talking a masterclass. We're talking Jose Aldo just taking Pedro Muñoz to absolute school and back. Jose Aldo, man, I kept it very simple in my breakdown. I just think he's the better man. And sure enough, he is. Jose Aldo is better than Pedro Muñoz in every aspect of this game. And we saw it tonight. Jose just, like I said, took over, absolute control. By the third round, I mean, I'm oohing and ahhing at some of the combos. Jose Aldo with the boxing, even using, sparingly using the leg kicks, but just everything. This was one of those fights where Jose Aldo, turned on the scanner and through the first round kind of analyzed Pedro Muñoz, what's in front of him. And as this fight progressed, solved every riddle. And it was Pedro Muñoz that just had nothing for Rio's, the legend from Rio, Jose Aldo. I had a bet on Jose Aldo. That bet cashes. Al, What did you think? What did you have?
Yeah, I had Pedro here, man, and this was super frustrating. And I had the under because I thought if Pedro doesn't get it done with a 3-round decision, someone's going to get stopped. And props to Dominic Cruz again to somehow, right as they're about to announce both these fighters, he somehow says, like, it's incredibly frustrating for me to sit here and announce this fight, you know? And it's just like, shut up, dude. Like, this isn't about you, okay? Like, just stop. So, yeah, I feel like Pedro was star watching. Like, I feel like I almost like saw it in his eyes that he was like, it was like, I know these dudes are the same age, but, you know, Jose Aldo has had a much more revered MMA career than Jose Aldo has. So I feel like Pedro is kind of like, oh man, I'm actually in the cage with Jose Aldo. And yeah, it was one of those things, a similar thing where it was like, it felt like Pedro was constantly just answering back. He wasn't able to lead. And I thought that Munhoz's his volume was going to be what dictates this fight. And sure enough, the exact opposite happens because Aldo looked great from start to finish. Like, I was not expecting it. Pedro Munhoz honestly looked outclassed. Like, he didn't look that it looked like Jose Aldo should have been like a -200 favorite in there, because there was at no point, even when Munhoz connected on Aldo clean, he was unfazed, you know, like, yeah. So with the win, Aldo improves now to 5-5 since taking that loss to McGregor. And with 3 of his last 5 wins coming by way of decision. And the thing about Munhoz, he loses. This is now his 4th. He's 6-4 now in his last 10 fights, with all 4 losses coming by way of decision. And if you've backed his opponent on the decision prop throughout that whole stretch since 2017, you're up +2 units right now. So this dude's losing. He's pretty much one of those guys who just bounces off. You know, I think he was ranked number 9 every time he, besides the Cody Garbrandt fight, every time he tries to break into that upper level, he seems to get either screwed, like in the Frankie Edgar fight, or he was honestly just outclassed tonight. Like, yeah, it wasn't a non-event, but it was pretty much Jose Aldo was in a class of his own tonight, basically, and showed why, man, he's turned his career around basically in comparison to where he was at, struggling to make 145, and now the whole narrative of him coming out there and being gassed in the 3rd round, throw that out the window, right? Like, he looked great in that 3rd round. And as far as matchups go, I think we're all doing ourselves a disservice if we're not booking Jose Aldo against Dominic Cruz right now. Like that's the fight, right?
Count me in. Yeah. That's a banger, man. And I got to keep it real with you. I know who I got in that one, straight up.
Yeah.
Jose Aldo, I think, puts it on him, man. You know, the dude's just huge for 135. One thing that I feel like I really nailed, one aspect of this fight, kind of an intangible. You know, I said I felt like Aldo at this point has spent enough time at 135. He's made the lifestyle changes, and a big factor for me coming into this fight was when Jose said cutting down to 135 right now is easier than it was when I was cutting down to 145. And I just said, even though he's older, even all the wars, you know, fighting the best guys in the world, losing, you know, I felt like we were going to see a very good Jose Aldo tonight. And I mean, you know, he has lost a few fights in his last few matchups, but right back in the mix, man, with the killers, absolutely at 135. And there's a chance Jose has got it in him, but I got to be honest, man. Petr Yan, the true king, the king who's lost his crown. I don't know, man. All I can say, folks, is 135 I said it earlier tonight. I got to say it again. There's never been a division this deep with this much talent all at the same time. I mean, just sharks at 135 right now, and it's just nuts. We have so many fun matchups, and we're really in, I think, a snapshot, a renaissance at 135, man. This division is just so on point.
I will say this, though. You go back and watch that Jose Aldo fight, Peter Yan, Jose Aldo. Aldo had his moments, man.
Yeah.
Aldo had his moments. Like, that fight was pretty even going into, like, the third round, and then the tide started to tilt. But Jose held his own. So, I mean, he's not completely outclassed by the King. So, you got to give it to him. I won't be fading him anytime soon. I thought this was going to be the time where we see the downfall of Jose Aldo. Man, I was so wrong, because taking nothing away from Pedro Munhoz, but freaking Jose Aldo is you got to slot him right in there with the top 5 of the bantamweight division at this point.
Absolutely, man. Phenomenal performance. That's your co-main event. Jose Aldo, he's just better. Plain and simple. He's just better than Pedro is right now. All right, folks, we've made it, the main event. And you know, Al, we take a lot of looks ahead, right? We have targeted this fight from a very long time, absolutely from the instant it was created. But honestly, Al, I've been targeting fights beyond this fight, because I came out after the last Ciryl Gane performance where he fought Drako, right? Alexander Volkov. I made some very bold statements, and I'm only planting my flag harder, and I'm only going to lean into that narrative even more. Guys, I got to tell you, Ciryl Gane beats Francis Ngannou, okay? This guy, and I know I haven't even talked about the fight that happened tonight, but I'm telling you guys, if there's somebody that's going to beat Francis Ngannou, it is going to be former training partner, current interim champion, Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane tonight, yet again, shows he's just the least hittable, fastest, fleet-footed, highly skilled. I mean, from a technical, tactical standpoint, this may be the most highly skilled striker, fighter, fight IQ guy we've ever had in a division that's been ruled, you know, for the longest point by kind of big, brooding, brutal, powerful guys. And Ciryl Gane is just against that wave, okay? For the better. I mean, listen, there's a Dr. Dre song from the album 2001 titled The Watcher. Now, I'm not going to recite the lyrics because it wouldn't go over great, but to surmise the text, the phrasing, and what Dr. Dre is trying to let everyone know listening to this song is people can't hit people they can't see, okay? And that is Ciryl Gane. The dude's not there to be hit. When you're hitting him, he's on the back foot. He's moving away. This dude went out here and fought a flawless performance against Derrick Lewis. Did I have him parlayed? Absolutely. Did I sprinkle round 4 and 5 and come 1 minute away from cashing that round 4 prop? Oh, buddy, did I, Ciryl? I wish you just could have took your foot off the gas and let him sit back on that stool and come out. And took him out a minute into the 4th round, but you didn't. Ciryl Gane fights so clean, so perfect. Tonight's no different. One-way traffic for a fight that made it late into the 3rd round. This was a non-event. This is as non-event as a fight that went 14 minutes as you're ever going to see. Why? Because at no point did Derrick Lewis ever do anything that mattered in this fight, and anything that had any impact in any way was coming from Ciryl Gane, the body kicks, the jab, the lightning quick striking, the movement. This is the guy who dethrones and now unifies the UFC heavyweight championship. Ciryl Gane is the truth. I've said it a month ago. I'm sticking to it. He beats Francis Ngannou. He beats Derrick Lewis. He beats everybody. And you know what? Let me throw just one more bum in the mix. John Jones, you don't want what Ciryl Gane's bringing to the table because this dude's going to put it on you, and I can't wait. Ciryl Gane, Ciryl Gane, Ciryl Gane. Tattoo it on the inside of my eyelids. Ciryl one eye, Gane the other. This dude's the truth. Al, tell him about it.
Yeah, this was I'm kicking myself because, again, I said I got to stop doing these freaking middles because I said Gane by decision or Lewis by KO, which was basically a little prop that I set up, which had like a minus 105 return. But, I had Gane in a parlay with Vicente Luque, and Vicente Luque went from like a minus 175 favorite to a pick'em favorite. So I didn't even need to parlay it. So one of the bad things about doing these look aheads is you don't do the parlays on the look aheads, just for put a little reminder on that one. But yeah, I thought in this fight, the real only problem that Gane was going to have is him being his own worst enemy. When he got into those exchanges up close, I thought he might find himself in some trouble on the disengage, like if he gets too close and they're grappling, and when he disengages, catching a left hand or a right hand from Derrick Lewis. But the fight IQ of this guy, dude, like he's on another level. Like, this fight wasn't even close. And then I got to say, like, Dan Magliardi, what was he doing? Like, what was he doing? Like, it looked like a fixed job for a second from, like, the 2012 Olympics in boxing. Like, it looked like they were just going to let Lewis keep going. And, it made no sense. It made absolutely
let it go another minute, Al.
Yeah, it made absolutely no sense. And then what pissed me off, Gane gets back up to his feet and starts swinging. And so smart of Gane to take a step back and to remeasure and to, like, once Lewis got back to his feet and started swinging again, and then he dropped him again with a nice uppercut. If he landed there after the fight should have been stopped and knocked out Gane, I would have been livid on this stream tonight. So Big Dan was almost a factor in this fight. And honestly, it looked like the fix was in for a second. Like, it looked like they were going to basically let Lewis die before they finished the fight because Lewis was their guy. And, Houston strikes again because that was just terrible. That fight should have been stopped so much sooner before it was. So yeah, that was a mismatch basically, because as one-sided of a title fight as we probably will ever see that's gone that long, like apart from Nunes Anderson, like to go into the third round, this was just an absolute non-event. And yeah, man, Ciryl Gane, the first UFC champion from France, and now the second under Ferdinand Lopez. The second under the tutelage of Ferdinand Lopez after, Francis Ngannou moved on. But that's how he got into MMA. So Ferdinand Lopez now has two champions under his tutelage, and this is going to be a wild one with Francis Ngannou. I see on Best Fight Odds, they already got it up on Bet Online. He's a minus 130 favorite against Francis Ngannou. And I don't know. I feel like, first of all, so Gane is now 7-0 in the UFC, and he's turned a profit of plus 2.48 units on the money line in that stretch. And, picked up I was stern on the decision here, and he picked up the inside the distance win, which cashed at, I think, even money, and cashed at plus 170 on the TKO. So if we're looking ahead now to Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane, I think we might need to get this similar to like Kamaru Usman with Ciryl Gane. We might need to get this he wins all the time by decision out of our heads, because he was able to show tonight that he's got ability to stop fights. And I know that he was able to finish two fights in his come up, but those were not against the greatest of competition, but he showed now the stigma of him being a decision fighter. It should. I don't know if I lean in that fight him winning by decision after what I've seen tonight against Francis Ngannou. I think there's a chance that he could finish this fight against Ngannou, and I'm definitely with you. Ciryl Gane -130.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what? That won't stay like that. I promise you, it won't stay like that. And I'm notoriously terrible at predicting line movement, but Francis Ngannou will close as the freaking favorite. Come on now. With MMA casuals, for sure. Trust me.
Listen, Al, I'm going to call that wishful thinking, and I hope that you're right. But, man, I really don't know. You might absolutely be right. I'm going to put it like this. I think sharps are going to be all over Gane. And, the bookmakers, they have their eyes on, who's public and who's sharps. And sometimes, regardless of the public being on Ngannou, which I'm with you, I think they will be. Like I said, how's Francis Ngannou going to beat a guy he can't hit? He can't. That's how Ngannou wins fights. He has to hit people. I don't think Ciryl Gane gets hit enough. I think we honestly see a fight similar to what we saw tonight. I'm absolutely thinking right in the same frame. Let's be honest. When you're approaching a Derrick Lewis fight with or a Francis Ngannou fight, strategically, what changes strategically this fight tonight compared to when he fights Francis Ngannou? Nothing. Francis Ngannou maybe throws more, right? I mean, Derrick Lewis very hesitant, just never got anything going. Was absolutely just frozen up by the speed, the footwork, the movement of Ciryl Gane. I think Ciryl Gane beats Francis Ngannou. I really do. Of course, is there always the chance Ngannou catches him with that one? Of course. But you know what? That was the case tonight. That was the case with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. That was the case with Junior Dos Santos. And again, the numbers don't lie. This guy's the truth. And I'm as high on him as can be. And mark my words, he's already got interim gold. I told people this was a guy that was championship level. I had finally seen enough, the win over Drako. And nothing changes. I mean, another question answered, another scalp on the mantle, and now another belt to add to the collection. Ciryl Gane, he's the real deal. And I got him beating Francis Ngannou. And Al, I hope you're right about that line movement. So there you go, folks. UFC 265. I needed Ciryl Gane like a mofo, cashed off. Checked off another big cash winner on the parlays. Decent night gambling. Absolutely cashed far more than we lost. You got to love that.